Namaste. Welcome to new session. Last time we were trying to conclude on Viparyaya Vritti. But a major part of it needs to be considered today. And that is perhaps the most important aspect, the Viparyaya Vritti in Adhyatma, in spiritual process. In Adhyatma and in spiritual process, which is the process of Jnana. Jnana in true sense of the term, essential sense of the term. As Bhagavad Gita defines, Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam Etad Jnanam Iti Proktam Ajnanam Yadadonyatha. So Adhyatma Jnana is only Jnana, rest of the Jnana is not Jnana. Otherwise, in the Laukika world, in the mortal world and this world, we are seeking knowledge, we are seeking information, we want to know so many things, we are knowing so many things, we want to know so many things, we want to be knowing so many things, and we think that is path of knowledge, or that is really pursuit of knowledge. So merely knowing and knowing and knowing is not the pursuit of knowledge. The real knowledge lies in turning towards the very knower. And therefore in Adhyatma it is mentioned that knowing the knowables is actually pursuit of Ajnana. Knowing the knowables and in process of it, in the earnest desired purpose and process of it, we are only accumulating Ajnana. So, mystic philosophers have said that we want to know the unknown things, and that is pursuit of knowledge. We think trying to go after unknown things and increasing our volume of knowledge by way of knowing the unknown. We don't try to make knowledge pursuit, usually, generally, in the realm of what we know. We want to identify something that we do not know, and then we want to carry out the pursuit. So there are two things: knowing the unknown and knowing the known. Those who are going in pursuit of knowing the known go towards the depth of knowledge, and that's a rare commodity. Usually mankind goes after exploring what is not known and then wants to make it known, get it into the realm of known. So the knowledge process, there are two types. One is knowing the unknown and knowing the known. And usually we are not spirited to know about the known. We are spirited, we are enthused, we are quite enthusiastic to explore the what is not known and then make it known and get it into the fold of known. So there are two ways of knowledge. One is knowing the unknown and knowing the known. Those who are going after the second kind, that is knowing the known, excel, because their depth of knowledge is greater. Wherever they have the knowledge, it is greater depth. But then in philosophy, there is third dimension, that is knowing the knower. That is really the knowledge process. Knowing the nobles is not really acclaimed in spiritual process. So now try to understand another classification about knowledge pursuit. Going after the unknown and making it known is one kind. Knowing after the knower, that is the adhyatmic process, and going after the knowing, and that is epistemology. Going after knowing in a big way, it is epistemology. So there are three aspects: known, knowable, knower, or knower, knowing, and knowable. So knowledge of knowable means something that should be known. It implies that we do not know it and therefore you want to know it. So this is the worldly process of gaining knowledge. I do not know this, let me know this. But I do not know the knowing, the very process of knowledge, and therefore I want to know it. It has some important place in epistemology. And then knowing the knower itself is adhyatmic process. And therefore Bhagavad Gita says, as long as we are not going after this pursuit, that is knowledge about the knower, it is all really ajnana. We are amassing ajnana. Because essentially the jnana is only subjectivistic, knowing the knower. Until that time, it's all pursuit of ignorance. We are trying to increase our ignorance from spiritual perspective by going after the knowledge process that is available in the world today. Now, when we gain this knowledge, and perhaps it is also proved to be valid knowledge, epistemology proves that whatever knowledge we have, like knowledge of cow as cow, knowledge of rose as rose, knowledge of river mountain as river mountain, etc., it is considered to be valid knowledge. Knowledge of white as white and black as black and brown as brown, it is considered to be valid knowledge. But understand the very illusion that lies in it, that is inherent in it. Yoga psychology has explained that. So in case of Laukika Jnana, which is valid, when we say the white as white, when we know the white as white and know the black as black, mountain as mountain, river as river, flower as flower, apple as apple, it is considered to be valid knowledge. There is no illusion seen in there. But really, who sees this? Who knows this? So as long as it is a condition that I know it, that is, I know that this is mountain, and I know this mountain as mountain, I know this river as river, I know this apple as apple, I know this black as black and white as white, red as red, man as man, bird as bird, animal as animal. Who knows it? I know it. What is this I? What is this I? Pronoun I. The empirical knower, subjective entity. This itself is avidya. Actually, when we say I know it, I do it, that I is empirical I, and it is actually reflection of the self. We look at the reflection of the self and declare it, deem it, hold it as I. See, when you get reflection of moon in lake, you don't point your finger down towards the lake and say this is the moon. If you have to show the moon, you have to point your finger upwards in the sky and point out at that disk in the sky and say this is moon. And we don't point out at the reflection of moon in the lake and say that this is moon, because that is reflection of moon. That's not moon. What we get in the lake is reflection of moon, and therefore it is absurd to say that this is moon when it is reflection of the moon. Similarly, when we say I know it, I do it, I am the knower, I am the endurer, actually we are referring to reflection. And we point out at the reflection of ourselves and say that this is me. So Patanjali describes that as Drugdarshan Shaktyoho Ekatmata Iva Asmita. So it is imposition. It is imposition. It is imposing the self on non-self. So that is characteristic of avidya. That's why Vyasa has introduced us to kleshas in Viparya Vritti itself. Because our pronoun I itself is imposition. Because none of us can really claim that we know ourselves. That too we cannot say in front of a philosopher, darshanika, or self-realized sagacious person that I know myself. That's why we are all told, know thyself. That means we do not really know it. But nobody thinks that I do not know myself. Every one of us think that I know myself. I don't have to know myself. I have to know something else. I have to know someone else. I do not know someone else, and many others I do not know. Many other things I do not know. No one has this problem that I do not know myself, while that is a big problem actually. So we all live in Viparyaya. Now when we declare Laukika Pratyaksha, that pointing at the flower, we say this is a flower. I know the flower, therefore this is the flower, and that is indeed a flower. As a physical reality, it is indeed a flower, and therefore it is called Laukika Pratyaksha and valid knowledge, cognition. Now who knows it? One who is under imposition itself is knowing it. So in the very statement, I know this is rose, there the pronoun I itself is under imposition. Now very substrate of knowledge is under imposition. There is Viparyaya in the very substrate of such a Laukika knowledge, worldly knowledge, although valid knowledge on worldly plane. The very pronoun I itself is imposition. None of us know ourselves to say that I know rose, I know mountain, I know river. Although the mountain is mountain really, that what we see as mountain is really mountain, yet the knower is under constant imposition. It is only when somebody has anubhuti, intuitive mystic experience of oneself. Now how many of us are really self-realized beings? So although we are not self-realized beings, then still we say, I know so many things, I do so many things, I have done so many things. when the pronoun I that we declare itself is nothing but imposition. The self is imposed on non-self, and therefore we deem that itself is our self. So any knowledge that really comes to that, the illusion can be cited. Because that is asmita. The pronoun I itself is a piece of asmita, which is a klesha. Being klesha, it is perversion. Being a klesha, it is taking the things as it is not. So we point out to ourselves, which is actually not ourself. Which is not ourself, we point to it as ourself, and therefore I say, I know it. I am the knower of it. I am knowing it. I am doing so many things. So kartrutva, bhoktrutva, gnyatrutva, knowership, doership, endurership is all imposed on the self, which is not really self. Because this self in metaphysics is said to be doing nothing. Naiva kinchin karoti. Nothing else, nothing does it do. It is not endurer, essentially. It is not bhokta. It is not karta. It is not jnata. So the jnata, karta, bhokta for us in our worldly plane is something which is not ourself. We impose ourself on something which is non-self. The anatma so atma khyati. The non-self is deemed as self, and then we have all these kinds of attachment to us in the form of karta, bhokta, jnata, etc. So, asmita klesha, if it is understood, then we realize that we are constantly, ever, incessantly under the false imposition. So if the knowership itself is falsely imposed, all knowledge that it is going to gain and acquire is bound to be tainted by such viparyaya. So that's why worldly knowledge is not really knowledge. It's not only non-knowledge, it is perverse knowledge, it is opposite of knowledge, therefore it is, in that sense, is ajnana. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita says, Ajnanam yadado nyatha. Anyway. So, although there is something called as Laukika Pratyaksha, on Alaukik plane, it is not really valid knowledge. So, see how much we are infested by illusion. So basically, for essential knowledge pursuit, we must go after knower. The knower should become knowable. The knowing should be with reference to knower, because this knower is falsely imposed. So like there is imposition of silver on nacre, as we saw in our previous lesson, or rope imposed on, snake imposed on rope. The self is imposed on non-self, that is aham, that is I, that is pronoun I. So see how the viparyaya vritti, we are infested by viparyaya vritti, we live in viparyaya vritti. Although we amass some knowledge as valid knowledge, in Laukika plane, in worldly plane, in mundane plane, but in ultimate analysis, it's all illusion. Then, see, in our knowledge process, what is knowledge process? I did not know this, now I know this. So far I was not knowing this, now I know this. This is the knowledge process. So far I was not knowing and now I know it. Is a knowledge process. But there is also interesting another knowledge process, which is by way of disillusionment. All these years I thought it is this and now I realize it is not that. That's how the disillusionment is. So in the realm of spiritual knowledge, disillusionment is a process. That means it is assumed that there is illusion, and that going away of illusion is disillusionment. So in the interval realm of knowledge, when the knowledge is going after the knower, going after the knowing, it is primarily of this nature, that it is of the nature of disillusionment. Brahma nirasa. Because we have the basic Brahma about ourselves. Who am I? Nobody says I do not know myself, but there is some knowledge about oneself, and that is Brahma. That is Brahma. That is illusion. And then little revelation tells us, gives us the disillusionment. I thought I am body, now I know I am not body. I thought so far I am mind, now I realize that I am not mind. So it is disillusionment process. So Jnana process is actually not knowing something totally unknown, but knowing something which was deemed to be known all that time, up to that time. And therefore in the internal realm, we don't have really revelations. We have disillusionment. So that should be understood. Now where it is disillusionment process, it implies that there is illusion. So real knowledge process, essential knowledge process is having disillusionment one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. That is why in Upanishads you come across the teachings, neti, 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 not this, not this, not this, not this. Because in mundane gravities, we think we know ourselves and we have to know something else. All our knowledge should be in the realm of something that is not myself and something that is not me, but around me, outside me, and I have to know it. And therefore we have so many new knowledges coming up. I was never knowing this so far, now I know it. I was never having any idea about it. I did not have any knowledge, now I know it. I was having little knowledge, I now have more knowledge about it. So it's all, in that sense, a knowledge process. So look at the child. When the child is growing, the baby is growing, it starts knowing so many new things. It sees new things, new people, new conditions, new objects, new experiences. So we are still in this childish process of knowledge, that I do not know so many things, now I am starting to know. Until this time I was not knowing, now I know. Until this time I was not knowing so thoroughly, now I think I know thoroughly. I was not having so much degree of knowledge about that thing, and now I have greater degree of knowledge about that thing. So it is all, that's why it is called knowledge. In Laukika language, in worldly realm, it is called knowledge. Because unknowables become knowables. Unknowing things become now known things. Unknown things become known things. And we are fascinated by this. The Laukika Buddhi or the childish Buddhi. Laukika Buddhi is childish Buddhi as per wise people. Because the child wants to know so many things. Child wants to see so many things, which it has never ever seen. It wants to see. That's how our knowledge process is. What we do not know, or so far we were not knowing, now we want to know. So there is a novelty in our knowledge. And that's why we have fascination for knowledge, if at all we have it. Because it is novelty. We come to know new things, newer and newer and newer things. This is our knowledge process. Now there is that assumption that I know myself and therefore I should know other things. So this is what a layman thinks, that I know myself, I don't have to know myself, I have to know other things than myself. While in Adhyatma, the launch point is this: I do not know myself and I have to know myself. And then gradually we will be getting to know, and therefore we think we know, therefore at a stage we will come to know that is not me, na iti, not this is not me. And then we have a new idea of me. And after going to another rung of it, we say, no, that this too is not me. So if you look into Taittiriya Upanishad, Bhruguvalli, Andam Brahmeti Vyajanat, then Pranam Brahmeti Vyajanat, Mano Brahmeti Vyajanat, Vijnanam Brahmeti Vyajanat, Anandam Brahmeti Vyajanat. So these are the 5 kind of stages. So at every stage, Bhrigu thinks this is Atma, this is me, Annamaya Atma. Then he realizes, no, this is not me. Then comes to a higher level of degree, a higher degree of knowledge, and says, no, Pranamaya Atma. And then further, Manomaya, and then Vijnanamaya, and then Anandamaya, and there is end of pursuit. That's final knowledge. So everywhere, Bhrigu felt that I am Annamaya. But little process, Adhyatmic process, Adhyatmic training, or the tapas or austerity told him, no, I am not Annamaya, I am Pranamaya. But Varuni sent him back again, go and do tapas. And then he comes back third time and says, no, I am not Pranamaya, I am Manomaya. Again he says, no, not this. He goes back for tapas and comes back. Oh, he says now Vijnanamaya, I am Vijnanamaya. He says, not this. And then he goes back for tapas and comes back, Anandamaya. Varuni doesn't send him back again. But he sends him those 4 times. When he realizes Annamaya is me, he sends him back. He comes back, he says, Pranamaya is me, he sends him back. Then he comes and says, Manomaya is me, he sends him back. Then it says, Vijnanamaya is me, he sends him back. But when he says Anandamaya, he doesn't send him back. That's why that concept of 5 koshas. So we wrongly feel that this is me, and we worldly people think I am body. Then we realize, no, I am not body. Then we think I am mind. Then we realize I am not mind. Mind is mine. Mind is mine. I am not mind. The body is mine. I am not body. The mind is mine. I am not mind. The intellect is mine. I am not intellect. The breath is mine. I am not breath. The prana is mine. I am not prana. So these are the revelations in the form of disillusionments. So the jnana process is full of disillusionments. So see how much we are subsumed, permeated by viparyaya. And therefore, in spiritual process, we seek disillusionment. We don't really seek knowledge. We seek disillusionment. Because we all know I know myself. Then comes disillusionment, and then we realize, no, not this. At the next stage, we are again given the disillusionment, and again we come back and say, not this. So this not this, not this, not this, not this process continues until we have reached essential knowledge. So that's the concept of Panchakoshas which comes in Upanishads. So this is in the internal realm, it is disillusionment process. And in the external world, it is knowledge process more often. Incidentally, there might be disillusionment process. I thought this is this, but I realized this is not this, but it is that. But then that is not again invalidated, and there is no disillusionment of that every time. Anyway, in the internal realm or in the jnana, essential jnana process, disillusionment is only the channel. So in the internal realm, we get some experiences. And what I want to say today as an important point of today's lesson is that, in the spiritual practices, pseudo-spiritual practices, they are pseudo-adhyatmic processes, we come across people who declare, I got some light, I saw some light, I saw some bindu. And they think that is what is to be sought after. So they have internal anubhutis. That's called anubhuti, for which there is no English word. Anubhava and anubhuti. Anubhava, anubhuti. Anubhava is in the realm of gross things, tangible things, knowable things, knowledgeable things, intellectual things, mindable things, sensible things. So they have a grasp, senses, mind, intelligence, they have a grasp, and we get experience. But in the internal world, again in English we say experience, internal experience. But in Sanskrit there is another word called anubhuti. So we come across so-called pseudo-spiritualists, or those who are in the process of becoming. They get some internal experience, internal light, internal luminosity, etc., antaprakasha, antagnana, and they think this is what has to be sought. And there are so many who are misled. But in one sense, they are not misled. They are given a step. Like Bhrigu, they should should have this kind of stand, or a guru should be like Varuni, who should say, no, not this, go again, penetrate, go again, and to continue your tapas. But this is not that which is to be sought after. It is one of the steps and stages. Yes, you will seek it, but go beyond. Don't be misled that this is what is ultimate experience. So there are so many levels of experience in the internal realm, and many of the spiritual seekers are misled. And they have that satiety where they should not be really satisfied. Like in case of Bhrigu, because of Varuni, he never got satiety in revelation. Annam brahmeti vyajanam, pranam brahmeti vyajanat, mano brahmeti vyajanat, vijnanam brahmeti vyajanat. He did not, his preceptor Varuni did not allow him to have satiety and saturation there. He made him to go beyond. So this happens in spiritual realm for a seeker. He has some internal experiences, and he thinks this is what I was supposed to be seeking. I have sought what I should have been seeking. And then they get false satisfaction, satiety. And therefore, it is not really, later comes disillusionment of that. What I thought is myself is not myself, and then there is just something new revelation by way of disillusionment. On another rung, there is another disillusionment. No, not even this. Then again in the higher rung, no, 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 not even this, not even this, not even this. So even in this internal realm, for earnest seeker like Bhrigu, who have courage to penetrate further and go further, they will ultimately reach the real self, and therefore they will be qualified for liberation. But otherwise, in the path, so many spiritual practitioners think, I know it, but they need to get that disillusionment. No, 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 this is not what I should be seeking. So Bhrigu was seeking to know the self. He was not really seeking to know Annamaya Atma, then Pranamaya Atma, and Manomaya Atma, Vijnanamaya Atma. But they all came in his way. They all came in his way and he got the Anubhutis. And that's why he came and declared to Varuni, Andam Brahmeti Vyajanat, Prano Brahmeti Vyajanat, Mano Brahmeti Vyajanat, Vijnanam Brahmeti Vyajanat. But then he was given a guidance that no, not this, not this, not this. So ultimately he went for Anandamaya Brahma. And then he was not told to go beyond. So this is the process of disillusionment. Everywhere we think, I know. Even Bhrigu thought he knew. When he had the first step, Annam Brahmeti Vyajanat, he thought, yes, I have realized. But then later came disillusionment. When he was asked to go another rung deeper. So in spiritual path, it's not insight, it is deep sight. In worldly realm, we have insight, people with insights. There's already inward journey. It's already inward movement. So there is deep sight, not insight. So when he got little deeper sight, then he came to next stage, Pranam Brahmeti Vyajanat. Then came next step in deep sight, and then Mano Brahmeti Vyajanat, further deeper sight, Vijnanam Brahmeti Vyajanat, and then further deeper sight, Anandam Brahmeti Vyajanat. So see the fivefold process of disillusionment, which Bhrigu got it from Varuni. So this is all disillusionment process in Adhyatma. It is not knowledge process, it is disillusionment process. We think this is me. Then at a higher level or with a deeper deep sight, we realize, no, this is not me. Further deep sight, no, this is not me. This too is not me. Further deep sight, no, this too is not me. And then further deep sight, this too is not me. But how long will it continue? Like I told you sometimes, like onion has so many layers. Peel the skin, it is onion. Peel the first layer, it is onion. Peel the second layer, it is onion. Third layer, it's onion. Until you go to stem of the onion, you go on declaring this is onion, this is onion, this is onion. But when you come to the stem, you say it is stem. Similarly, in the consciousness, when we penetrate, there will be a process of disillusionment about the subjectivistic entity. And this is the Adhyatmic process. So in the internal realm, it is completely a process of disillusionments after disillusionments after disillusionments. That means there is illusion. It's not no knowledge, it is illusory knowledge. Illusory knowledge about oneself, because none of us will say, I do not know myself. And we deem I know myself, therefore we do not make any pursuit in that direction that I want to know myself. However, in philosophy or the mystic saints tell us, know thyself, because we do not know. So that's the first disillusionment, that I really do not know. And therefore we commence the journey, what is called a spiritual journey, it commences. So see how the illusion is a basis of our pursuit in spiritual process. Because we have to have disillusionment one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. And it is not knowing, because it is all in the realm of something that is deemed that I know. Because as I said, often we deem that we know ourselves, and that's why we want to know something else. So this is the aspect of disillusionment in internal realm. That means there is lot of viparya, lot of layers of illusions are there. Like onion has several layers, flower has several layers of petals. A flower like rose or dahlia has so many rows of petals over that mid part, center part. Similarly is our case. So the knower should be known. The knower of the knower should be known. The knower of the knower of the knower should be known. If you think you know yourself, who knows? Who declares I know myself? So let me investigate that who is knower in relation to myself, the knowable. So there is knower of the knower, knower of the knower of the knower, knower of the knower of the knower of the knower, knower of the knower of the knower of the knower, so on and so forth, until we are Bhrugified, who ultimately became what he became with the revelation Anandam Brahmeti Vyajanat. So that is the Vedantic process which is given in Upanishads, and Upanishads often tell us about not this, not this, not this, not this, because we think this is this. We think the self, this is me, this is me. Nobody says this is not me, or nobody says I do not know me. It is deemed that we know, but when you have a spiritual process, you realize no, there is disillusionment. No, this is not this. This is not me, this is not me, this is not me, this is not me. So it actually gives us a passage. Illusion is giving us passage. Unless we have illusion, we won't have disillusionment. So that is, illusion is foundation in spiritual process, in one sense. So that should be understood. So see, in Adhyatma, the illusion scores totally a different kind of importance. In Lokik knowledge, it is something which is discard worthy. Nobody wants to stay in illusion. We want to come out of any illusion that we have. So that is discardable, disposable. Illusion is disposable. And then in spiritual process, it is recourseable. We take recourse to it. That is why it is called the path the other way. So in the internal realm, we will get viparya. As long as it is klishta, it will be replaced by a step of disillusionment. And then it will be going away. Going away in the sense, that's a step that we take. When you climb up stairs, you climb up steps which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, etc. But you don't want those steps to be removed. Then you will fall from where you are. The steps are very much there. So it's not really discard worthy. It is disillusionment, that's all. In illusion, we discard. I saw this as snake, and then I discard it. No, this is not snake. This is rope. It is discarded. invalidated. But here it is not invalidation the process, because that step has to remain. In staircase, if you have gone on the third step and somebody removes your 2 steps, you will fall. You are on the 10th step and somebody removes all the 9 steps, you will fall. So until you are not gone through the staircase completely, you can't just dismantle the staircase. So it is not really disposable until you have gone to the last rung on which you should, or landing, the last step that you cross over to reach that particular floor. But then only then it can become discard worthy. But there also you need to come down. If you are climbing up the stairs, you not need to climb down the steps. So totally it's a different thing here. Understood? So it will be klishta when you have disillusionment. But until that time it was aklishta. New kind of disillusionment comes, and then you get to know that it was not really aklishta. So see the klishta aklishta classification in the internal realm with regards to illusion. Anyway, this is what I wanted to say finally about viparyaya vritti. Now we go to vikalpa vritti. Again, vikalpa vritti, if you look it in epistemology, you think it is something discardable. Shabda jnananupati vastu shunya vikalpaha. Vastu shunya. So it is discardable, discard worthy. So it is a vritti which is just generated on verbal matter, and there is no really substrate, objective substrate for such expression. Like the popular famous example is when somebody says that is son of barren woman, it's not that you do not have any chitta vritti. You do have chitta vritti. Although there is nothing as existent as son of barren woman. It's a non-existent thing. Or horn of a hare, or horn of a man. These are non-existent things. However, somebody says that's a man with horn, we get some mental modulation. Or somebody says that's the horn of a hare, we get a mental modulation. Although we know there is no objective substrate. And therefore we think vikalpa is something that is totally abandonable. So in Laukika examples, you will think this is something which is discardable, as much as the illusion was discardable. Only finally you perhaps got a little disillusionment about illusion, that illusion itself is a path. So when you cross a level of illusion, it is only by disillusionment and not discarding it. You don't discard it. Similarly, the vikalpa, it has to be understood that it is such an important vritti in spiritual adhyatmic process, because the indescribable is being described when it is a spiritual realm. Because it is said that Atma doesn't have characteristics, doesn't have attributes, doesn't have marks, yet there is verbal expression. When there is a revelation, this is Atma. Now, Atma cannot be pointed out. It's not an object, and you can have an index finger pointing at it and saying that this is Atma. Yet, it is a process that we have. So, vikalpa vritti also should be considered in philosophical culture. It is not discardable, like just now you realized. Illusion is not totally discardable. Actually, that is a channel. So vikalpa vritti comes in big way. Atma has been described in Upanishads. Bhagavad Gita describes it. So it's all vikalpa vritti. What cannot be described is being described with some predications. And there can be no predication to Atma as such. Yet there are predicates. So So Vikalpa Vritti is again an important pillar in spiritual process. However, in Laukika process, we want to just get rid of it, do away with Vikalpa. Nobody wants to stay in Vikalpa. Verbal delusion. That's why it is called verbal delusion. Now, who wants to remain in delusion? Delusion implies it is discardable, discard worthy. But that is not the case of Vikalpa Vritti. Moreover, Vikalpa is also Klishta and Aklishta. So, Aklishta is not disposable. Klishta Vritti might be disposable. Aklishta Vritti certainly not disposable. Patanjali makes aware of that reality. It is Aklishta Vikalpa as well, and not just Klishta Vikalpa. So now we embark upon this interesting Vritti, Chitta Vritti, which is Vikalpa. Shabda Jnananupati Vastu Shunyaha Vikalpaha. The mental modification which just follows the verbal expression, verbal description for something which doesn't have substrate in the form of objective reality. Vastu Shunyaha. Nothing of that kind really exists anywhere in the universe. Nowhere in the universe you will have man with horn, hair with horn, sky flower, son of barren woman, because very description, son of barren woman. A barren woman means who doesn't bear son. But then it can create a vritti, chitta vritti. In Laukika plane, therefore, we have been looking at Vikalpa Vritti with that perspective that it is something which is not to be embraced and has to be given up. But whereas in spiritual realm, it's all Vikalpa, Vikalpa, Vikalpa. So let's try to look into this Vikalpa. But that is next time. Namaskar.